I just took over an office a year ago in August, and I restructured some things inside, which is definitely a difficult thing to do. You go in, you restructure things, you said this is the way it is. And you know what? My favorite line was, well, so-and-so didn't do that. And I'd look at him, I said, yeah, and he's not in business anymore. And they're like, ooh, yeah. And then I pulled some people in from another company that closed down. And they said, well, we didn't do that at our last company. And I said, I understand. And how did that work for them? Now, I'm being somewhat cynical about it, but I'm absolutely, I would take a longer time. In the South, we can take a long time to say something mean. But I'm giving you the short version of it, because that was the bottom line. It did not work for them. They did not make money. They did not meet their fixed cost, and they did it because they made foolish decisions. And foolish decisions are not that difficult to overcome, because the facts within our business are very well known. The facts about cash flow, the facts about revenue producing, the facts about our expenses are all, we can calculate every one of them. But we have to make sure that we understand those things before we let a competitor force us to do something stupid. And I mean stupid, because some of them are desperate and they're starting to do things that you can't survive on. And I see it happen all the time. I have it happening in my market again. I have some people that are figuring out, well, we're losing money. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to give what? We're going to give the agent more money. Now, that may work, but I just want you to do one thing for me. Calculate your fixed cost, divide it by the number of agents that you have, and look at how many agents you need. You need 15 times more of the agents than you have right now. And they've never given that a thought. Because what some of them do, I compete against this, and you probably compete against it also. You probably have a broker seller that is saying, I'll do this. And if they make anything at all, what they'll end up doing is helping me with my overhead. And so if they help me with my overhead, I'm going to be selling anyway, so whatever they make will be helpful to me. I don't know. I really believe that people need to pay their way. It's just a basic principle that I grew up with. It's one of those things where I will take an agent that needs to grow, and we will help them grow. And that's my job. Because I look at, what business are we in as brokers? Are we in the real estate business? Yeah, I'm not giving you a trick question here. We're in the real estate business. But guess who my customer is? Who is my customer as a broker? Say that with some commitment.
The agents.
It's the agent. And if you keep that in perspective, as long as you make sure that you generate enough agents to cover your money, as long as we make sure that we have enough agents to cover that, then we're okay. But if we start to get to where we don't have enough agents to cover it, and we start giving away more money to keep them in our shop, then we're in trouble. So fixed cost is a big thing. So what do we do when our risk becomes too big on fixed cost? The first thing we think about is shifting that to a variable cost. Two costs involved in this real estate business: fixed cost, variable cost. A variable cost is a cost that is the result of a transaction being done. If you don't do a transaction, you don't owe the money. If you do the transaction, you owe the money. That's a variable cost. Now, the more that we can shift a variable cost to that transaction, which technically is to the agent, then we can start working on our numbers. Now, of course, the competitive market out there says you have to have fixed cost, variable cost in line, or your competitors will take your people. Now, why do people change offices, statistically? Not in numbers, but why? What's the reason most agents change offices? They will tell you it's the better commission split. How many of you ever heard somebody left your office, they gave me more money? The real reason they leave your office is because of a relationship within that office that does not work out, whether it's you and the broker or someone else. That's the number one reason. It's how they get along with the people inside that office. It's how they are able to work with them. It's how they're able to deal with them. But when that situation gets too untenable, they will leave that office and go somewhere else. And instead of hurting your feelings, they will say, they offered me just a little bit more money. It has not much to do with the money. So when I go back to what business are we in, we're in the people building business of our agent, because that agent, licensee, executive is our customer. Now, I have made decisions to not have people before. Have you ever? And the way I do that, I give them an opportunity to blossom elsewhere. And I actually will say that in the exit interview. I will say, and sometimes I just take the responsibility. I say, look, it's my fault. I don't think I've really been around to help you enough, even though you're a lying scumbag with no ethics. You know, I just really think that you need to move on and blossom somewhere else, because our office doesn't seem to really fit what you have. And I'm really sorry about that. And they're like, oh, wow. I mean, I've had them walk out and say, I think I just got fired. And they did, because their risk to me, going back to the risk, the risk on the financial side, the legal side. I want to digress one more time. It's never, let me see about this. On lawsuits, it's not about who's right or wrong. It's about the money. Now, I'm a very principled person, and it's hard for me to say that. But I want you to know it's never about who's right or wrong. It's about the money. I've been in court. I've been an expert witness. I've been all of those things. You never know. In some jurisdictions, when you look up there, what you're looking at are 12 people who did not know how to get out of jury duty. Is that scary? They're not your peers. They're glad to get the $15 a day or whatever it is. You're in trouble. I mean, I'm not trying to scare any of you if you got a case coming up, but be careful, because you're rolling the dice. You could be absolutely 100% right and still get hammered. So your risk in that situation, and when you get into that side of the risk management side, be very careful that you do not waste emotional power, financial power, all of these things just to prove that you're right. I have purchased dishwashers, refrigerators, air conditioners for people that I never should have had to purchase them for. But I just really don't care, because it's just not worth it. I look at my advertising budget and I say, I'm spending all this kind of money to build goodwill. Here's what I finally turned this into about 10 years ago. I decided, what is it? It's a $400 ad. And I would go to someone, what's your name? Karen? Karen had a complaint. You know, I'm making this up. I've really never met Karen. Karen, are you okay with this? Are you uncomfortable right now? You should be, because I am crazy. All right. No, I go to Karen. Karen had a dishwasher that broke, you know, when? 3 days after closing. It always happens real quick. So Karen's upset with us. She's upset with our company. You know, maybe we didn't do the home warranty, whatever. So it's down to a dishwasher. She was supposed to inspect. She had an inspector, had a walk through. All of that stuff, we did all of that stuff right. But she's mad at me because my agent said, we'll take care of it. And I'm okay with that. They come in, they say, hey, look, you know, we got this dishwasher. Here's what I do. I go to Karen and say, Karen, look, I really think that the inspector should have caught this. I said, but that's not your fault. I wish they had, but what I want is a satisfied customer. I'm going to buy you a dishwasher. But do me one favor. Do not tell anybody that I did this. Because if anybody thinks that I'm just willing to cough up $400 just because someone's upset about something and it's really not my fault, I'm going to get a reputation for being easy. And so, but I want you to be happy. I want you to be a satisfied customer of our company, and I want to do this for you, and I want to take care of that. Boom, I write a check. I get the dishwasher put in. Guess what? She just bought me 4 or 5 deals. You know, she is the best ambassador that I have out there in the marketplace. I paid $500 for 5 leads. How many of you would do that? $500 for 5 good leads. Hey, there's only one person I'd let sell my house, and that's Randy Mckinney. Give him a call. I can't tell you what he did, but they will. They'll tell him, he bought me a dishwasher, and he didn't have to.